I had a panic attack after my daughter set me up to meet my abuser to let go of the past, so her siblings dragged her name through the mud. About 24 years ago, I was sexually assaulted by a close friend of mine and got pregnant by the encounter. I was inconsolable for months after the event. To make matters worse, I found out I was pregnant at about 20 weeks, and where I lived at the time, it was illegal to get a termination of pregnancy after the first trimester. My husband had been my rock and my support during that time, and I do not know how I would have ended without him. He said that I could put it up for adoption, or I could keep the child, and he would raise it like our other children. I decided not to give it up for adoption, but raising the kid was hard. I am half Polish and half German. He is half German and half Russian. We both have pale skin, light hair, blue eyes, and are fairly tall. However, our daughter Luna is about 160 centimeters or 5 feet 3, and has dark hair and a brown complexion, like her biological father. I often heard snide remarks about me being unfaithful since it was obvious she wasn't my husband's child. It was tough when Luna was young because she looked like her dad. My husband took care of her most of the time since I had bad flashbacks whenever I saw her face from when I was assaulted. As she grew up, it died down, but I would still get horrible panic attacks when I saw her wearing boys' clothes and short hair. Since I was prone to panic attacks, Luna ended up closer to my husband than to me. She often got more than her siblings from him as compensation. We never told her she was the product of assault because I was too ashamed, and my husband didn't want her feeling different. I told her that her biological father and I had an altercation and never spoke again. About 2 years ago, she got a DNA test and found a relative who connected her with her bio dad. They started talking despite my protests. He wanted to speak to me, so Luna tried to persuade me. I told her we shouldn't ever be in the same room together. Now Luna is getting married. The plan was for my husband to walk her down the aisle, but he had an accident leaving him in a wheelchair temporarily. This wasn't her idea of a perfect wedding, so she invited her biological father instead. Her invitation not only invited my rapist, but disrespected the man who raised her. Though a bridesmaid or I could have pushed my husband's wheelchair, she thought it wouldn't fit the wedding's vibe. My husband looked shocked and upset, but I was furious. I told her I wouldn't attend if her bio father was there. She said I shouldn't hang on to the past, but I told her she didn't know what happened between us and shouldn't interfere. Though I felt terrible about what I said, I still believed my wishes should be respected. I decided to tell her everything. I called her over and apologized for yelling, explaining I wasn't angry at her suggestion, but at how quickly she'd replace her father because he was in a wheelchair. She asked why I was so against her genetic father, so I told her everything from our friendship to her forced conception. She didn't believe me at first, but I offered to show her court records. Later that day, she returned crying and apologizing. We had a long chat that felt therapeutic. She suggested taking me to a surprise to help me feel better. Days later, she brought me to a restaurant where her biological father was waiting. She said he was there to apologize and start my healing journey. I wanted to leave, but he grabbed my hand, triggering all my repressed memories. I had a panic attack, somehow made it to my car, and called my elder son to pick me up. My daughter later called, upset that I'd ruined her surprise. I asked why she did this knowing what happened, and she admitted wanting me to get used to him because he would walk her down the aisle with my husband and do the father-daughter dance. I told her I respected her decision to have a relationship with him, but wouldn't be anywhere near him. My husband supported my decision not to attend the wedding. Fearing my other children would disown her if they knew, I decided to tell them everything. I invited them for dinner and explained what happened with Luna's conception and recent events. They were silent until my elder daughter started crying. My sons were furious with Luna and her biological father. Later, my elder daughter posted on Facebook calling out Luna for siding with my rapist and re-traumatizing me. My sons made similar posts. I asked them to take the post down since I don't like my personal life public. Luna's fiance came to my house with his mother to apologize, saying he broke off the engagement because he couldn't be with someone who treated their parents that way. His mother expressed disgust at Luna's actions. I was stunned by the support, but disappointed about losing her fiance, who was a lovely person. Luna sent me a nasty voicemail saying I ruined her life since her friends and fiance cut her off. I felt sorry because I tried to avoid this situation. I told my therapist about this, knowing exactly how it feels to be ostracized, but she reminded me that while I was the victim, my daughter brought it on herself. My therapist is probably right, but I can't stop this feeling of dread. I tried to call my daughter, but I hung up once I heard her father on the line. He took it upon himself to let me know that my daughter was depressed because of my actions. I feel terrible for treating my daughter like this. My husband says I should focus on myself, and I'm trying to, but I just can't stop worrying. I don't think that my daughter is safe when she's with her biological father.